Good morning, parents and my dear students. I am Bhavna Prakash, an English teacher for Class 8. Today is 13th of April, Monday, and the topic of our discussion is note writing. Students, today we will discuss about note writing. What is a note writing? How we write it? What are the patterns that we need to follow? All will be talked about today. So let's go and talk about note writing. Note writing is a common form of social communication that is intended for the purpose of inviting somebody for certain birthdays, wedding, inauguration, marriage, anniversary, and so forth. So it is a social connect wherein we invite somebody for certain events. Similarly, like letter writing, note writings also are of two types. They can be both formal and informal. As I told you earlier, note writing is done for inviting somebody for special purposes. We invite or we give request for invitation to an individual to come or to go or to do something, right? So when we are writing in a formal form, it will be very polite and courteous. But once it is informal, the tone, the way it has been written is very relaxed and friendly, like in letter writing. And once invitation has been received, then we acknowledge by replying it back that I have received your note for so and so reason, or I have got an invitation, so I'll be there, or I cannot be there, refusing the invitation. So a note writing is done for two purposes: first for invitation, and second for replying back. And it can be written in two format. One is formal and one is informal. So let's go further and talk about formal note writing. Kids, if you remember, in letter writing also we have a format to follow. Same here also in note writing. When we are writing a formal note, which is the easiest, informal is bit difficult. It is the opposite of letter writing. So the formal note writing, you don't have to write any heading or salutation like dear sir or so and so. Nothing should be there. And the ending should not be with complimentary clause like yours sincerely or faithfully. We will not end like this. And in a formal note, we write in third person form. So we will not use I, we, and you words. Make sure that once we are writing formal note, we are not writing the words I, we, and you. There will be no heading and salutation, and we will not close with leave taking or closing, complimentary closing like thank you or yours sincerely, something like this. An invitation is basically given for certain occasion, wherein you have to make sure that in your invitation, your occasion must be written, your invite name should be there, your name, you are the host, your name should be there, date, time, and venue should be disclosed. So these are the key elements that you have to make sure that you are taking care of while writing a formal note. And once you reply, obviously you will again reply back, considering the same date, time, and venue, your name and the host name. While you are writing a note, your name appear in the body, unlike your name appear at the last left part in a letter writing. Out in here, your name will appear in the main body only. And the address of the writer will be written below in the left corner, unlike the letter में आप पहले लिखते हैं अपना एड्रेस, फिर जिसको भेजना है उसका एड्रेस लिखते हैं. इसमें नोट लिखने के बाद आपका जो एड्रेस होगा वो आएगा कम्युनिकेशन पूरी होने के बाद, यानी बॉडी पूरी होने के बाद. And the positive point is, as per CBSE guideline, the maximum word you can use for writing a formal note is 50 words. So the information should be very crisp and to the point, and you should not exceed 50 words limit. So now this is the first formal note that we will be doing. We will be doing three kinds of formal note writing: one for invitation, one for accepting an invitation, and one for refusing the invitation. So the first one says formal note for invitation, wherein Mr. and Mrs. Bipul Sarkar request the pleasure, the company of Mrs. and Mr. N.G. Sharma at dinner on Sunday. 19th April at 8 p.m. And the address follows along with the date. So this is a pattern wherein how you will be writing a formal note, not exceeding 50 words. You mentioned Mrs. and Mr. Bipul Sarkar request the pleasure of the company. So now Mr. and Mrs. Bipul Sarkar are the host who are actually inviting Mrs. and Mr. NJ Sharma to dine with them on 19th April and the time is given. So you have to make sure the name of the host who is actually inviting should be there. The person who has been invited, the name should be there. You need to specify the date, location, time. Your address will come afterwards. The communication and the date follows. If we are writing it for today, it will be 13th April 2020. This is the formal note for invitation. We also we follow block format. Everything comes towards the left. कोई भी heading नहीं है, कोई salutation नहीं है. You will start with the body and you will close with address and date. So now let's move forward and see formal note for acceptance. Now Mr. NG Sharma is again writing to acknowledge that they have received the invitation and they will be coming. And how they will be writing? This is the way. Mrs. and Mr. NG Sharma have great pleasure in accepting the kind invitation of Mrs. and Mr. Bipul Sarkar to dine on Sunday 19th April at 8 p.m. And this follows the address of the writer. And who is the writer here? Mrs. and Mr. NG Sharma. So the particular address belongs to them and the day that they are writing is 14th of April. I hope you understood. This is the easiest way to write note. Third form is formal note for refusal. Now, what if Mr. NG Sharma will not come to the dinner? This is the way that they will be writing note back. Mrs. and Mr. NG Sharma thank Mr. and Mrs. and Mr. Bipul Sarkar for their kind invitation to dine on so and so date, that is Sunday 19th April. But regret that a previous engagement, this is the reason why they could not come. But regret that a previous engagement prevents them from accepting the invitation. And this follows the address for Mrs. and Mr. NG Sharma and the date that they are replying on to. So this is the way that you will be writing formal note of refusal. I hope this is clear to you. So let's recall what we have done today. Today we have learned about note writing. What is a note writing? Note writing basically is writing content to invite somebody, and it has two types, formal and informal. We have learned to write today formal invitation, how to accept an invitation, and how to refuse an invitation. Let me remind you that a formal note of invitation contains no heading or salutation. This is not just invitation, it goes for acceptance and also refusal. That the note will not have a heading or salutation, nor it will have any closing. आप लोगों ने देखा ना, हमने क्लोजिंग नहीं करी, हमने सिर्फ एड्रेस लिखा और डेट लिखी जिस पे लिखा गया था. एंड द राइटर नेम्स अपीयर इन द बॉडी. अगर आप लेटर लिखते हैं तो आपका नाम नीचे आता है ना, मगर इसमें कहा आया मेन बॉडी में ही आपका नाम आया और जिसको लिखा उसका भी नाम ऊपर नहीं आया, सिर्फ बॉडी में ही आया. So the address of the writer and the date should be written on the left corner below the communication. After all the things are done, then you will be writing your address and the date onto the left hand side below the communication as we did today. Based on what we have done today, this is your homework. आपका क्या homework है? You are Miss Madhu Singh and Mrs. Sharma has invited you to dinner on 16th April 2020 at 9 p.m. On the basis of work done today, write a note. जैसा कि हमने अभी सैम्पल वर्क करा है, आप दोबारा ऐसे देख सकते हैं वीडियो को अगर आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है. इसी के बेसिस पे जैसे हमने इनविटेशन का लिखा है, एक्सेप्टिंग इनविटेशन का लिखा है और रिफ्यूजल के लिए नोट लिखा है, बेस्ड ऑन द सेम वे यू विल बी राइटिंग द 3 notes: inviting, accepting and refusing the invitation that is sent by Mrs. Sharma to you and you are Miss Madhu Singh. I hope you will be able to do it. आपको ये सब समझ के में आ गया होगा. पेरेंट्स आपसे अनुरोध है कि आप अपने बच्चों को प्रोत्साहित करिए कि वो घर में बैठ के पढ़ाई करें और प्रैक्टिस करें नोट राइटिंग की, जो आज हमने करा है। कल हम फिर मिलेंगे, कल एक नए टॉपिक के साथ। तब तक घर पे रहिए, स्वस्थ रहिए, सुरक्षित रहिए। धन्यवाद।